time for Africa. It's time for Africa. Some people call me a fool. I would say that's the way that I go about living my life with no goal.
Homer is played by Walter Long, who also had a long career in Hollywood and was most famous for playing Gus, the black man in D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation, who stalks a young white woman and then she commits suicide and the KKK takes care of him. He also had numerous roles in sound film, and one of the most interesting, I think, is his essaying the kind of unexpected role of Miles Archer in the first version of The Maltese Falcon from 1931. And he plays opposite Ricardo Cortez as Sam Spade. Cortez was actually, early in his career, a Valentino imitator, and he had been renamed. His original name was Jacob Krantz, and he was from New York City, and his father was a kosher butcher. But he was depicted in film as being another Latin lover. And he had some good roles in the silent period, particularly one in The Torrent, in which Greta Garbo was his leading lady. I do think Lucien Littlefield kind of overplays Gaston. In this dinner for three, Diana's elegant attire reinstates outwardly her white Western femininity through her elaborate and somewhat daring evening dress. Being able to wear her own clothes restores to Diana a sense of her identity, her class and racial status as a civilized white woman. But her Western superiority and independence are then undermined by having to ask permission of the sheik to retire for the night. This submission to the sheik's authority reflects her complete loss of control and her dependence on a master who governs her every move. Now what follows, I think, is a very interesting scene for its ambiguity, in which Raoul emphasizes that the sheik has unnecessarily humiliated Diana as his unwilling captive and sex slave. But the sheik's attitude is, what's the problem?
قواعد
And Valentino's
واحد
actually sort of makes it
معدوم الفم.
fun, a kind of guilty fun, to see how much sexual authority
قيس اثنين كانوا مضغوط بهم الحمد لله.
while he's sitting on the floor even. The sheik
أقدر
is surely
سنترات.
implying in this scene when he says that Diana is contented, that Diana is sexually contented. Which of course depends on our understanding that the film is like the book, that she's been raped.
اوكي هنا صوفا.
So, the film is cultivated the question of whether the sheik and Lady Diana are having sex. And that ambiguity
Bismillah.
is also built on in the next scene. The
Allah,
one between Raoul and Diana. And a scene that I think would probably please viewers who read Hull's book if they wanted to give them something to hang on to in terms of their own preferred or at least established understanding of the story. That is, the books that we want them. I do think Lucien Littlefield kind of overplays Gaston. In this dinner for three, Diana's elegant attire reinstates out.
عاشق بقالي سنين ولا غيرك في بالي حبيبي يا نور العين عيون الشباب ميت على مغرورة ميت على مغرورة للقعد العالي هوا غربي وشمالي منورتها شبرا ونص وبلوزتها بتلالي المنخل بتمشيتها عم تعلى بندورتها طارت من همواج البحر وجنت لما شافتها فكرة الشايب شاف والخطيارة فرفورة والخطيارة فرفورة
Il y a un jour, les Arabes ont écouté ces chansons. Oui. Folklore.
شامبوان فيتايا
تعود انت الوطاية ديالك. Hello?
هاد الفرنسي عاوني بزاف، عاوني باش نوجد الامتحانات والدبلومات ديالي
Lo peor de la rumba, ya
Ay,
llega, ya
ay,
llega. El Manu Chao, con los musicarios de la rumba. Ya llegó, lo peor de la rumba. Ya llega, ya llega. El Manu Chao, con los musicarios. Esa rumba de Barcelona. Escuche bien. Cántala, vaya. Rabla pa' aquí, rabla pa' allá. Esa es la rumba de Barcelona. Rabla pa' aquí, rabla pa' allá. Esa es la rumba de Barcelona. ¡Hey! ¡Al mariachi! Déjense primavera, déjense peruchada, déjense la policía, déjense la autoridad. Rabla pa' aquí, rabla pa' allá, esa es la rumba de Barcelona. Rabla pa' aquí, rabla pa' allá, esa es la rumba de Barcelona.
In the book, Lola encounters two men, Howard. So, the film is cultivated around the question of whether the sheep and then ambiguity is also built on the next protege of dancer Theodore Kozlov, who worked in several films such as Rambo became a close confidant and perhaps lover, it was rumored, of Ali Nazimova, a big star in Italy, who hired her as a costume and set designer for Nazimova's modern dress version of Alexander Dumas' Camille. In 1921, he was on this production that Rambova met Valentino, who was cast to play Marguerite's young mother, Armand. Patsy Ruth Miller also acted in the and later she had no kind words for Rambova, whom she felt were pretentious and condescending. Miller remarked in an interview with her later years, quote, "I really felt I can't Madame, that is Nazimova. Perhaps she was an artist. Hollywood would become very adept at, especially after the creation of the Production Code in 1930 that detailed how films should treat moral issues and issues of some cultural sensitivity, like the treatment of foreigners and foreign governments. And this was all to keep at bay existing state and local censor boards, actually like the Kansas City board that banned the sheep. The film industry was also concerned about the prospect of federal censorship. After 1934 and the establishment of the Production Code Administration, industry self-regulation became even more systematized, and ambiguity was discouraged, even visual ambiguity. Agnes Ayres' career was basically over by the end of the silent era once she lost the romantic interest of Jesse Lasky, who, as I mentioned earlier, was vice president of Famous Players Lasky. And she lost her money in the crash of '29, and she gained weight. In fact, in the sequel to The Sheep, in Son of the Sheep, she plays Lady Diana Mayo again, 25 years later, and she's overweight and she looks much older than her years. Ayres died young, in the late 30s, I think barely 40 years old, of a cerebral hemorrhage. Is actually in the book. It follows the book so closely. It's kind of amazing, except for all the scenes of sexual intimacy. I know, it's kind of a laughable scene. It's in the book. What do you want? The idea that he has to trust her instead of she trusting him. Now, why Gaston and Diana are again out and about is beyond reason. But at least now they're with an armed escort. And here we have cross-cutting again, of course, with Valentino arguing with Monjou. This torturing of the spy is in keeping with Orientalism, but it's interesting that Monjou doesn't even bother to protest against that. Monjou doesn't even bother to protest against that. from the book, but it really doesn't make any sense anymore, the censorship. This kind of trajectory to the narrative with the misunderstanding between the hard hero and the heroine is basically the same formula that would be taken up in Harlequin romances and all sorts of women's fiction in the 20th century. And I can't really say that Hall generated this idea, but boy, she sure made it popular through the book and then, of course, the film adaptation. And it is one of those formulas that just keeps on giving. Now, we're laughing again. This is extremely hokey, but wait, it's going to get hokier. Now, this is actually a scene that does serve to establish one thing, the loneliness, that he is not polygamous, that he will not have a harem or even another woman, that he's in love with one woman, a Christian woman, and that this is essential for Ahmed to be a prospective husband to Lady Diana in Western cultural terms. In other words, he will not turn to other women, he will not have other women, and he will be lonely again. We cut back to Lady Diana and Gaston in a losing battle.